Hello. Just want to take you through my findings on how to sell on multiple channels at once. I have found two companies. One of them is called Sellbrite, another one is called Seller Active. These seem to be the two more popular ones. I found Sellbrite to be slightly cheaper and better organized than Seller Active. Um, and they also, Sellbrite seems to have better reviews than the other one, but they both seem to be up to par. This one is, its reviews talk about how easy it is to use, even for people who aren't technical at all. So it seems like this might be a better solution. So we'll just focus on that for now. Um, so we'll have a look at how Sellbrite works. So Sellbrite, the way it works is you can list on multiple marketplaces. So you can sell on eBay, you can sell on Etsy, you can sell on Google Shopping, you can sell on Amazon. I think this is a logo for Walmart and other different places. Obviously, we probably don't want to put in a Walmart, but Amazon seems to be okay. I noticed that there aren't many antiques being sold on the platform, but because it's cheap and easy to sell, easy to list, we can actually put them up in there. The only labor that it's going to require is adding it and creating the seller account with Amazon. What this does is it creates a centralized location where you connect all of these different platforms and you only list in one place. You don't have to go through all other places to list it individually. So we'll go through some of these features. So we'll skip the importing of data because you're starting fresh. What it does is it links everything together. So when you list, say for example, an antique, a brooch, or something like that, you can say what the price is, what the quantity is, how many of these particular items you have, and then when you push, then you turn on syncing the inventory. So it syncs the inventory. If somebody buys it off Etsy, it removes it from all the sites, as I mentioned earlier. So it allows you to list your products in different marketplaces. Then when you're ready to ship your order, you get a fulfillment, you get all the labels, everything ready to go, and then all you have to do is ship it out. Um, the features that you can, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, the features are list product, sync inventory, and ship orders. I mean, it's very, very basic. What are the integrations? Here you go: Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Walmart, Google, Sears. I don't know why you would sell on Sears, Newegg, Rakuten. Um, I would think that you would likely be better off only selling on Amazon, eBay, and Etsy. So those three platforms would be the main ones you can try, and Google Shopping. So you can try these four to sell. These are integrations with your shopping carts, but you don't have this at the moment, and I wouldn't recommend that you go through that because you already have a site. Your site was, it appears to me that it was custom made, or it was made with some form of e-commerce software that was linked with PayPal. Not a big fan of that. I would have used something as simple as Shopify, which has more integrations. But then again, I don't know how the site was created, and since you haven't really sold anything off of it, what it means is the site alone is not going to do the work if it's not listed, if it's not actively being worked on, if partnerships aren't made with other sites. So as you can see, it requires a lot of work from going from having your own site to listing a product in a place where there's already a bunch of people shopping. So maybe try this out. If this works, focus on that primarily. Uh, it integrates with shipping engines, but you probably don't want to do that because your sales aren't that frequent. I think the reason why we're using this is mostly behind ease of use, right? Less workload for you, where you just list one thing once and it puts it on four different places all at once. If it sells on one place, it removes it from the other places. So that's the idea. It's just less labor for you. You're really paying the $40, the $49 a month that you're paying, which I'm not sure if it's Australian dollars or American dollars. Um, it's cheaper when you pay annually, so maybe we give this a try for 3 to 6 months. If it works, then you can try annual billing, which reduces the price. Now, from the looks of it, all the features seem to be included on all of these plans. So you're not going with the $40 plan. The $49 plan doesn't mean you're missing out on the $150 plan. It appears that it only has to do with the number of orders. So you get all the same features, it's just the number of orders. If you're selling up to, more than 100 orders per month, that totally worth it, right? It's totally worth paying the extra money. So then we'll scroll down a little bit. As you can see here, almost everything across the board seems to be checked off, almost identical. Uh, let's see, there's a one-on-one onboarding. They give you a 30-minute, I guess that's the only difference, is they give you 30 minutes to help you get onboarded. I would probably use those 30 minutes for Q&A for anything that I can't do myself. I can usually figure this stuff out pretty quickly, so it shouldn't be a problem. And the only thing that you don't seem to get with the 49 plan is phone support. No problem whatsoever. We can get support through chat or email, no big deal. Have a look at this site, go through it all, see what you think. Is this worth doing, yes or no? As I said, maybe try it for 3 to 4 months, 3 to 6 months, since some of these products, like antiques, for example, take a longer time to sell. So focusing on antiques, we'll have a look at Etsy, which does seem to sell some of these products that, for example, Victorian morning woven hair work, $275. Among it, there's another one, antique gold gilt brooch, 125. Here's another Victorian, 550. So there's a few items in here that are, quite expensive, and some cheap ones as well. So another hair woven wreath for 330 or so. Now, these star reviews that you see next to them, as you can see, the top result, right? Hair antique hair woven. This is a ribbon. It's recommending me a ribbon. Why is it recommending me a ribbon? There's a reason why this may show up over here. They could be doing paid advertising, which is what I mentioned to you before. And this is a major store. The other one could be that they're a major store. They're a bestseller, 17,000 reviews. They probably sell a lot of cheap stuff. So as you can see, this is $1.97. They're probably selling a ton of this. If we click on it, for example, you can choose a quantity up to 20. There's like, you can add 140 of these to the basket. That's how they're getting all these tons and tons of reviews, right? This thing takes care of everything. Now we'll take a look at hair woven stuff on eBay. So it's being sold in there as well. Pre-owned, unbranded, gold filled. There's a lot of stuff in here as well. That is Victorian antiques. Not that many on the hair woven stuff. Only 11 listings, so that could give you a little bit of an edge since you have quite a few of these products. But okay, if we look at the international stores, so. See, this is going to be a little bit of an issue potentially if you're marketing towards the US. Having a US based address could help you a lot, because what's going to happen if somebody's looking for this stuff in the US, it's going to, see, this is postage to Tamari Mount, right? So if I come here, I can see everything that's Australia based, or companies that ship to Australia. And then at the bottom, it shows the ones that ship from overseas, right? And these usually have a significantly higher shipping price. I would say postage is $30. So what eBay tends to do is it puts anything that is basically free postage at the top. Let's just click on this one that doesn't say free postage, but the postage is usually cheaper. See, this is shipping from Brisbane, right? $8.90 something. This one is shipping from the US. Let's see how much the shipping is on that one. 25. So maybe I take that back. I guess it still shows you everything. These are international sellers, so I guess these guys have accounts locally, but they're saying that the product is shipping from the US. So what you may want to do is set up, potentially, if you've got a store in the US, we could set up a separate one, or just set up a US based shop and then link that back to Sellbrite. That way, when people are looking up stuff in the US, which is your target market, it's going to show up as if it's local. Okay, so the only difference is that you're shipping it from Australia. Maybe you can put that in the description, store based in the US but ships from Australia, and that way you can get around getting up at the top search results. I looked up Amazon.com. The US version of it didn't really seem to have much stuff in there. Antique hair woven, nothing really popped up. So it could be something that would give you an extra edge to sell, but have a look and see if you're interested in selling with Amazon. The local version of Amazon doesn't seem to really have many antiques. So I'll have a look here on Amazon, and we'll see. There isn't a way for me to sort. Let me just sort by price. It's hard to look because it keeps showing me really cheap stuff. Um, Look, there doesn't seem to be really anything on Amazon. So you could be a pioneer of. You could be the only person selling antiques on Amazon Australia, right? Nothing is showing up. I mean, an antique, just a few items. It's mixing it up with local items. There's only 20 pages worth of stuff. That tells me that there isn't really all that much. Let me just look for antique brooch. Yep. So you see, there really isn't anything on Amazon that nearly mirrors what you're selling. Now, that may appear to be a negative thing, but in reality, it could mean that you being the only one selling on Australia on the Australian version of Amazon will give you a significant edge once Amazon starts to grow in Australia. At this point, it's kind of a pioneer's land. Nobody's really selling as much on Amazon. People aren't really buying on Amazon. And that's because Amazon didn't really do a very good job in Australia. But if they fix their product offering in Australia, you could be one of the first who are selling actively in the US. But you see here, US import, US import. A lot of stuff is coming from the US. So just things to think about. So now keep in mind that whenever you're selling through all of these different platforms, right? If you're selling on Amazon, you're selling on eBay, so you're paying the $49 to Sellbrite, but you're also paying the commissions on eBay, Etsy, etc. Now, there are two different ways of listing on most of these sites that I can think of right off the top of my mind. One of them is just a regular listing price. In some instances, Amazon may charge you a fee just to list. In another case, it might just charge you a fee when you actually sell. I've seen that on eBay and Etsy. Etsy, I think it's free to list, but they charge you a higher commission when you sell. Or what you have to pay is the other way of selling on these platforms is to sell via marketing. So you can say on Etsy, look, I'll list for free, but I want to pay an extra 20% towards marketing. So what Etsy does, it actually lists you on different platforms for you. Oh, now I'll show you what Google is. So I'll just go here and I'll look up antique brochure, for example. Now, if I go to shopping, I tend to do this sometimes when I'm trying to compare sellers. We can actually get you listed here, and sometimes sometimes Google will show you products at the very top. So instead of showing you images, sometimes it'll show you results from shopping. So it just depends on what people are searching for. So if you look over here, there are a few items that are being sold. Some people may come here and then they click, and as you can see, it takes them to Etsy. So this is a good example of when you enable the marketing part on Etsy. So this person who's listing here will very likely have to pay a slightly higher price, but that's because Etsy tried to push you into here. But there's also individual sites that are selling here. So for example, Narades Australia. These are individual shops that are selling stuff. So this would be you listing something through Sellbrite where you choose to be listed on Google products. So you would probably get listed at the very top for being a unique store, and then at the bottom you start to see the Etsy. So Etsy, among other sites. So how these things get listed will largely depend on the algorithms that these sites have, how Etsy thinks your store will perform, and all of that. As you start selling more and more and more, you start building a reputation within these stores. So if people review you, you start showing up at the higher end of the results. So for example, this store has 300 and change reviews, so they're showing the next best result. So they showed this thing that wasn't really related to antique hair woven stuff, This was just a ribbon, but then it starts to show, the top stores which have 300, 300, 900, 800. And as you go down, it starts to show you the stores that have fewer reviews. So this is where having reviews versus doing paid marketing kind of converge. But you see, it starts to show you the 36 reviews, but it's still trying to push me the high, these stores that have a lot of sales, right? So you may want to consider selling really cheap items as well, so that you can get reviews, right? So see that as an investment of time and effort to start building your market, your store on these sites. Once again, once you start doing paid advertising, it'll start to show you up at the top. So have a look at this, see how it goes. It might take a little bit of learning along the way. I've never sold antiques online, so I'm not really sure how the performance will be. What I can offer you is to put you through these sales channels so that you can sell. Or at least try it out and do the work yourself. Now, once we're done with this, once I set you up, the majority of the work, like where does my, paying me come into play? So part of it will be setting this up for you from scratch, right? It might take me a little bit of extra time to learn it, but than I would if I were an expert at it. But the difference is probably not that much. Some of this stuff is so straightforward that I should be able to set it all up for you straight away. The other fee that you would have to pay is the time, unless you want to do this yourself. You can go on Amazon, set up a seller's account. You can go to eBay, set up a seller, which I think you already have. You can go to Etsy and set up a seller account, and then just give me the passwords for each one. Or the day that I come and set you up with Sellbrite, you can enter the passwords yourself, so I don't have to know them. Again, it depends on what you want me to do. It'll take me longer, of course, if you want me to set all these things up from scratch. You can try it if you want to save money, or you can sit down with me if you get frustrated or you reach a point where you need help. Also, so what I'll do is I'll only charge you for my time on an hourly rate. I'd say just pay me, I don't know, 50 to 80. I normally charge $80 US, but because you're a friend, I'll charge you, between $50 and $80, depending on how many hours we end up spending. If it's just a couple of hours, $80, but if it's a little bit more, you can just pay me 50 from there on. I think that's fair, and then we'll help each other out. If you find that this works later on and you need somebody to help you out with this further, then we can talk about how we can work together. But for now, I just want to help you get you listed for as little as possible, give you as much information as I can so that you can do some of the things yourself if you want to do it, and you can only pay me for the time it took me to put all of this together and come and visit you and whatnot. So I hope this gives you an idea of what you need to do, how to do it, and if you need any extra help, let me know, and I can create videos for you once we get it going. I'll create a video that shows you the entire process of listing through Sellbrite, what you need to do when a sale comes through, all of that stuff, so you can just go through to the videos and you don't have to call me, you don't have to worry about taking notes. We can just focus on creating these videos. So I hope this covered everything. If you have any questions, let me know and we can take it from there. Thank you, June. Bye-bye.